Doc. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Right. So, Doctor, let's get right into it. You know that we're now at the end of the year, which means that many people are doing on holidays, like traveling or family gathering. What is actually the most common illnesses or probably like inconveniences to watch out for during the holiday season?
As you said, we are now at the end of the year, which means a holiday season. Obviously, it's a wonderful time, but it's also a time that we are all at risk of getting infected or getting sick. Our immune system may weaken due to long hours of traveling from one place to another place, and then some people reducing their sleep hours in order to get everything needed done, and then sharing foods and drink, being in close with others. Not to mention this December weather. Sometimes it's very hot, sometimes it's heavy raining. This all can trigger a variety of illnesses. And the most common illnesses during the holiday seasons, first, it's common cold.
Okay.
It's called common cold for a reason because you will get it at least once a year because the virus is always mutating, changing to its environment, allowing to infect the people that get immune. And then the second is the influenza. Both influenza and common cold, both are an upper respiratory tract infection. It's a little bit hard to distinguish between common cold.
I was going to ask you, what's the difference? Like, is it because does the flu have or influenza have a fever usually accompanying?
Yeah, it's a little bit hard to distinguish between those two, but common cold, it tends to cause more cough, runny nose, sore throat, and usually it's a milder fever.
Okay.
But the other hand, influenza, it's caused by influenza virus. Usually it tends to last cough, runny nose, sore throat, but having a higher fever, and then your body may feel pain, and then usually it has a headache.
Okay, so it's a different treatment for cold and influenza, right? Is it usually antibiotics for influenza, or?
You should probably go to the doctor.
Okay, to find out. Yeah, because now that we're practicing a lot of like COVID-19 protocols, many of us are still wearing masks in public places. We're probably used to washing our hands more now. Will that somewhat reduce? Have you found that there's less cases of common colds and influenza? Because those should be effective measures against those illnesses that you mentioned, right?
Yeah, but for the diagnosis, maybe if the COVID-19, we have to check the PCR result.
Right.
Yeah, but the common cold and the flu, if the PCR result is negative, so maybe those two are another virus.
Right.
Yeah, but because and of course the most common illnesses is COVID-19. Yeah, because we are still in the long pandemic and people starting to forget wearing masks and getting together indoors. But please, if you have any symptoms like runny nose or something like that, the COVID-19 symptoms, please just stay at home, seek medical advice first, and then please do not attend any gatherings.
Right. We do that with common colds these days too, because if we haven't got tested yet, if there's members in our household that's gotten a cold, then we'll just, like for example, my kids, we'll take them out of class, or we just won't until we know for sure. Because I guess the steps would be right now: take a COVID-19 test if you can, and if you find out it's not, then it is a common cold, hopefully, and nothing heavier.
Yeah.
So, is there any symptoms or signs that our bodies are weakening or our immune system are weakening?
Okay, for some people tends to have an unhealthy behaviors during the holiday seasons, like social gatherings means heavier foods, alcohol, kemudian sleep. Some people reducing their sleep hours, right? And it can trigger stress, making us feel tired.
Well, like holiday can make you stressed.
Yes. Lacking of concentration, in a brain fog, headache, and something like that.
Okay.
It can release cortisol hormones. It's an essential hormones of our body that affect our organs, almost every organ in our body, and if the cortisols being elevated, then it can increase the risk of infection.
So many activities actually triggers your body, your cortisol level, making you a bit brain fog, tired, you know. So when you start to feel those things, then it's probably a sign that your body's weakening or immune system is weakening. Now, one thing that actually felt by a lot of people during the holiday is like bloated or like a feeling of lethargic because you eat a lot, right? What about that, Doc?
Okay, one more thing. One of the most illnesses during the holiday is gastroenteritis. Yeah.
What's that?
It's inflammation of our digestive tract.
Okay.
Yeah. People
From
in
overeating.
the holiday, yeah,
Okay.
they will try as many local food as possible.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hear, hear.
And then, yeah, it's a common contagious food-related condition. Usually caused by a bacterial or a viral infection. The symptoms more like a diarrhea, stomach pain, nausea, vomiting, something like that. And the spread of the disease usually the caused by unwashed hands after bathroom visits, and then we contact with an infected individual or the contaminated water or food.
So it can transfer from person to person. We probably
Yes.
get it from food initially, but then you can
Yes.
transfer to others.
Yes, so you have to wash your hands often.
Okay. Also, Rasha mentioned a little bit about how we have so many activities to do throughout the holiday. Holiday is supposed to be relaxing, but maybe it is for kids because they're off school. But for us adults, we're still working. Many of us are trying to finish up our Christmas shopping.
Yes.
There's more traffic in malls,
Yes.
on the roads to deal with sometimes as well before
Yes.
the holidays. Knowing all of this and going through all of this, how do we maintain our stamina and good health? I mean, obviously rest is important, but sometimes getting more sleep is not an option during the evening.
Okay, there are some tips. First, you have to drink water.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because when we're doing high activity, your body will need more water. But when we don't drink enough water, then your body become dehydrated. So it can cause the fatigue, lack of concentration, and so on. And then you have to eat balanced nutritional diets, and then you have to get enough sleep. Around 8 hours every night.
I'm
and
not
then
even close to that.
I know.
Not even Christmas yet.
yeah, and then exercise. Just a light exercise is enough to keep the body fit.
Okay.
Like walking is one of the best option in the middle of vacation. And then just stretching up after you waking up, and then before doing any activities, or just light exercise before going to bed.
Okay.
And then and the last one is get vaccinated, like COVID-19 vaccine or flu shot
Okay.
before going on vacation.
And that would apply to majority of people, mostly adults. But what about taking care of the children, as Paul mentioned? Probably, it's nearing the end of the term, probably, but maybe you can get infected from other kids because, kids are playing with, different kids. What about kids? How do you maintain or keep your kids healthy during the holiday? Is there any special treatment other than the ones that you mentioned before?
Before going on a vacation, so parents should make sure the child eating a balanced nutritional diet and then get enough rest, because you don't want your child, you want your child to be on a prime condition before going on a holiday. And then for parents, trying to fulfill all child immunization according to the schedule before going on a vacation. And while on a vacation, parents should make sure that the children drink enough water, get enough sleep, and eat a healthy food. And then, more importantly, if your children have a certain disease like asthma, please bring a special needs. For example, if your child have asthma, so you have to bring an inhaler or another medicine that your doctor gave it to you, so it will prevent or reduce the symptoms of the disease. And then if your children have following symptoms like fever that don't reduce with fever reducing medicine, and then diarrhea or difficulty of breathing, or not drinking enough water or other liquids, or not urinating every 6 hours, and then or suffering any injury or trauma, and then you have to go to the nearest hospital or nearest medical clinic because safety first, right?
Absolutely. So let's talk about weather a little bit. We are headed or well into rainy season. You know, they always say, right? Like, oh, I'm not feeling well today. And then somebody will always comment like, oh, it's the weather. It's because it's raining.
Yes, yes.
First of all, is that a myth? Is it just something that we're used to saying? Because I don't see how it raining outside can affect my weather. And we do know that the weather has been unstable right now. School's out for Christmas and the holiday season. What should we be doing in preparation for this weather? For example, rain is unavoidable sometimes. Some of us ride motorcycles, so we're out in the open. Like, is this something that we should try and avoid throughout the rainy season in order to help keep our good health?
It's all about our immune system.
Okay.
When our immune system is low, then we got to be infected easily. Yeah, and for that we have to control our nutrition and taking a vitamin. For nutrition, we have to eat a balanced nutritional diet. Our Ministry of Health recommend isi piringku that consists 50% of vegetables and fruit and remaining 50% of carbohydrate and protein in our plate. And then for vitamin, for the nutrition, we have to limit our salt, sugar, and fat intake. For salt, it's around 1 teaspoon a day. And then for sugar, it's around 5 to 10 teaspoon a day.
Oh, is that right? You can have way more sugar.
Yes, and then for fat, unsaturated fat, you can see it in processed meat, fried food, dairy products. It's around 20 until 30 grams a day. So, we have to take vitamin A, B, C, D, and E. Vitamin A, good for your immune system and vision. You can see it in carrots, sweet potatoes. Recommended daily intake is around 900 micrograms a day. And then vitamin B is good for each vitamin B complex has its own recommendation, but you can take a vitamin B complex. And then we can see it too in leafy greens. And for vitamin C, it's good for, it's an antioxidant. And you can see it in strawberry, broccoli, citrus fruit. And the recommended daily intake is around 90 milligrams per day. And the vitamin D, it's good for your bone health, muscle function. It's around, the recommended daily intake is around 600 until 800 international units. And you can see it in a fish oil or a dairy product, eggs. And then for the vitamin E, it's also an antioxidant. It's protective to our body. And then the recommended daily intake is around 33 international IU, international unit. You can take it from nuts, seeds.
And in case we're not getting enough
for
variety, yeah, I mean, it seems like a lot of variety. We try to get as much as we can throughout the day. I know Russia does as well, but it's hard. So is it okay to get this through supplementation then?
It's okay. It's okay.
Now that you know the units.
For normal people, it's okay. But if I have a vitamin deficiency, then you should go to your doctor.
Right.
All right. Well, those are some great tips to try to keep us healthy throughout the holiday season. Dr. Noor, thank you so much for dropping by here and sharing that very wealth of knowledge when it comes to what we should do to keep ourselves healthy.